Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own Black Belt leader within. Hey, this lesson, I want to start with a little bit of philosophy. And I want to go in one direction to set up a conversation I want to have later in the podcast. And I want to ask the question that many of us have been asking ourselves since the time we became aware that we were a unique, succinct, sentient being. And it's a simple question: who am I? Now, it's a question we've all asked ourselves at some point, and hopefully you're asking that on a regular basis. Who am I now, and who am I becoming? Now, for some of us, it's a question we've yet to answer, and for many of us, we may spend our entire lives and never really be able to answer the question because we've not taken the time to look within and discover who we truly are on the inside. We've never taken the opportunity to look inside and discover the abilities and talents and gifts that we have and identify that black belt leader within, waiting to be discovered, developed, and deployed. So, who am I? Again, it's a question you and I have to answer, and there's no one answer that's right for anyone. It's a question that each and every one of us has to answer for ourselves. Now, it's important that we answer this question because it is fundamental to who we are. Now, that may be the oxymoron of the podcast today, but it is a fundamental question because it serves as the foundation for defining our sense of identity and our sense of self-awareness. Now, this is important because understanding who you are is going to help you form a clear and stable sense of the uniqueness of you, the incredible value that you possess as a human being. Now, having this clarity of thought and this clarity moment is important because your identity and your self-awareness shape your decisions, your behaviors, and the relationships you're going to engage with in life. Now, it's also important you understand who you are because here's something you need to know. You and I cannot act in a manner that is inconsistent with who we are for very long. Because who we are on the inside is going to eventually show up whether we like it or not, no matter how hard we try to hide it. But when we become aware of who we are, what happens? It leads to a life of consistency and integrity because the choices we make, the decisions we engage in, and the actions that we take are going to be in alignment with our true self. Because when we answer the question, who am I? We are aligning our lives with our values and our beliefs, and that leads to a more fulfilling life. Now, knowing who we are aligns our life with our values, our passions, and our goals. It gives us an important sense of direction and purpose that guides the choices and actions we're going to take. And at the very heart of our identity, answering that who am I question, we're going to find the very values and beliefs and convictions that we hold dear. Those are the non-negotiables that define us. Now, those values and beliefs may have been shaped by our upbringing, by our culture, by our experience, by personal reflections, but they all become a part of who we are. And our who we truly are on the inside, serves as a compass. Just like a compass points the direction and we're able to navigate and orient ourselves to get from one place to another, our who serves as a compass that guides the decisions we're going to make and the actions we're going to take. When we ask the question, who am I? What we're really asking is this: what are the principles, beliefs, and convictions that define who I am and direct how I'm going to live my life? What clarity does that bring when you understand your principles, your beliefs, and your convictions that define who you are on the inside? Answering this who am I question helps you focus on what truly matters, and it allows you and I to avoid the distractions that don't align with who we truly are. Now, another byproduct of this is emotional stability and resilience. You and I are all going to face challenges in life, obstacles that we have an opportunity to face and overcome. But when we know who we are, we possess a stronger sense of self worth and confidence. And as a result of that, whether our life experience in the past has been positive or negative, and probably for most of us, it's been a little bit of both of those, while they contribute to our identity, we begin to understand that if we have a well defined identity and we know who we are, we have the emotional stability to persevere when things get tough. We have the resilience to keep moving forward when the going gets tough. We understand and we're able to look at life through the lens of confidence in who we are and what we're capable of saying, doing, becoming, or achieving. And as a result of that, we can look at the situations we face, see the opportunity within it, seize the opportunity, learn the lesson life is trying to teach us, and add that to our collective wisdom and knowledge. And then after we've gone through that experience, we can pause and reflect and look at how that has molded us and made us into the person that we are. Now, again, I said understanding your values, your beliefs, your convictions, your who is a compass. It's going to give us direction in our lives. And it's going to give us the resilience to be able to navigate through difficult circumstances, even when the going gets tough. Because when we have a clear understanding of what matters to us, where our strengths lie, and what we can do to adapt and overcome, guess what? Any challenge we can face with confidence, knowing I've overcome a similar challenge in the past. I'm going to overcome this one, and I'm going to be better on the other side as a result of that. That's the power of the who am I answer that you've got to be able to answer for yourself. Now, understanding our identity, our who, is also important because our who is going to define the choices that you and I make in life. And whether it's choosing a career or building a relationship or making life altering decisions in our lives, like choosing to quit smoking or go on a diet or get more exercise or choose to marry this individual or choose to have a family, whatever those life altering decisions may be, when we have a clear sense of who we are, we understand and can make choices that are aligned with our true selves, our beliefs, our convictions, and what we believe to be true about ourselves. It also allows for more genuine connections because when we understand who we truly are, the law of attraction is going to attract other people that are going to resonate with our true selves. Now, I like that because the end result of all of this is what? Authenticity. Because when we know who we are on the inside and we're comfortable with that, it allows us to live in a way that is true to ourselves rather than trying to conform to some external expectation or some societal norm to try to fit in. We can be confident in being who we are and being comfortable with that, even if nobody else is. I mean, I laughed growing up looking at videos of myself on the 8mm movies dad and mom shot a lot of growing up. I was the ADD poster child, and I became comfortable with that because I realized I had a level of energy that I could go and do things that nobody else could do. I embraced that, and that became a very integral and important part of my life. And even to this day, I'm still a very driven individual, and I've acknowledged and recognized that talent, that energy that I have in incredible reserves allows me to keep going and keep moving and keep pressing forward. That's one of the uniquenesses that makes me me. And every single one of us has those authentic realizations about ourselves, those aha moments when we realize that maybe it's our compassion, maybe it's our high energy, maybe it's our intellect, maybe it's our ability to do something with our hands or with our mouth or with our feet that allow us to do something incredible in the way of crafting or singing or developing or being able to run at breakneck speeds and break world records, whatever it may be, we get an opportunity to embrace our authentic self. Now, interestingly enough, though, here's what I found. Sometimes there's a gap when we're looking at this who am I question between how we see ourselves and the way we actually are. Sometimes the way we see ourselves and the way other people see us, there's a gap there. Why? Because sometimes you and I know there's a little something lurking in a dark corner of our lives that we really don't want to deal with. We think we've got it buried and hidden away and nobody can see it. But remember what I said earlier, who we are on the inside is ultimately going to show up, whether for good or for bad, whether we like it or not, or no matter how hard we try to hide it. So being authentic and true to ourselves allows us to begin to see the gap between how we perceive ourselves and who we truly are. And that's important because we need to go back and answer this who am I question and continue to revisit, because it's important to know who you are right now, but also it's important to know who you are becoming by the thoughts you're thinking, the actions you're taking, and the outcomes that you're experiencing in life. So, this self awareness, by going back and reviewing this question, can help us bridge that gap because it's going to encourage honest self reflection. That's going to push you, it's going to push me, it's going to push all of us to confront those uncomfortable truths. Those little things hiding in the corner of our lives that sometimes we don't want to admit is there. Maybe it's a bad attitude. Maybe it's the fact that we're a little too sarcastic at times. Whatever it may be, recognizing those things are there and dealing with them so we can ultimately become a better version of who we are and what we do. Now, answering this who am I question, and more importantly, this who am I becoming question, creates that self awareness that we've got to answer because that's essential for personal growth. Black belt leaders are daily focused on becoming a better version of who they are and what they do. Why? Because successful people do daily what unsuccessful people do sometimes or not at all. So, as we go back and answer the question, who am I now? And who am I becoming by the thoughts I'm thinking, the actions I'm taking, and the outcomes I'm experiencing, gives us an opportunity to recognize where we are either going in the right direction or maybe taking a step in the wrong direction. Black belt leaders are focused on becoming a better version of themselves each and every day and improving a little bit more every single day they get out of bed and start their day. They are focused on daily learning, growing, and improving. Why? Because they understand that as they learn, as they grow, as they improve, what happens to us? We become a better version of ourselves. Our identity gets altered, it changes. Just like our identity as an infant changed when we were a toddler to an adolescent to a teen to a young adult, now to whatever age you are today, wherever you find yourself, your identity has shifted and changed because as you've gained more knowledge and wisdom and insight, you've been able to see the world at a much deeper and much more expansive level, and you're adding additional layers to who you are and who you are becoming. Now, this continual process of self discovery is important because it is through these self discovery moments that we challenge the status quo, and it makes sure that we are not being stagnant, but we are ever evolving and becoming a better version of who we are and what we do. You know, I love Ray Kroc's saying, as long as you're green, you're growing. But once you're ripe, you start to rot. Because if we continually return to this, who am I now and who am I becoming? And we regularly reflect on this, what are we doing? We're staying in the green zone. We're allowing ourselves to evaluate what's next for us in our personal growth journey. We learn to see ourselves as valuable and more valuable as we go through this exercise. And when we see ourselves as valuable, we realize that we are worthy of being valued. But what about the people that are around us? I want to shift the thought for just a minute, and I want to take it off of you and I want to put it on the other people that are around us. And I want to bring a leadership insight to what I've shared up to this point. Individuals around us that we interact with every single day, guess what? They're asking this very same question of themselves. And because they're not focused on personal growth, because they are not black belt leaders in life, they're struggling to answer this question. They are asking the exact same question of the people around them, but nobody's taking the time to listen. Nobody's taking the time to observe. Nobody's taking the time to help them answer those questions. But as a leader, that's part of what we are called to do, is to help the individuals that we are leading, the folks that are following us, discover, develop, and deploy their own black belt leader within. But here's the problem that you and I have to guard against, and that's this. It's so easy to become so self-obsessed with who we are and who we are becoming that we forget we are human beings and we have been put on this earth to be in community with other people. We have been put on this earth as human beings to be in relationship with other people. As leaders, we have been called to lead other people and to help them answer the question, who am I? But to put it another way, let me see if I can say it like this. In a self-obsessed world, that if you go look on social media today for more than 5 minutes, you're going to see that millions and millions of people around the world are self-obsessed because what are they posting about? The most important topic in the world, and that's themselves. So in this self-obsessed world that we live in today, where it's all about me, individuals singularly focused on themselves, think about how many people, and there are far too many people that are walking through life as faceless, nameless mannequins that are being ignored by the world around them. They need a leader to help them answer the question, who am I? So what are the questions that these nameless, faceless mannequins are asking? The very same questions that you and I are asking when we go through this self-development and this self-reflection journey. Here's what they're asking. Who am I? Do you know me? Do you hear me? Do you see me? Do you even know that I exist? Do you recognize me when we walk down the corridor of the office complex together? Do you see me in the parking lot or the grocery store? Do you see me in the classroom where we're sitting together studying geometry or algebra? Do you see me in the movie theater setting to myself? Do you see me in the restaurant eating alone? Do you even know that I exist? Do you value me as an individual? Do I matter to you? Now, that's the really big question, isn't it? Do I matter to you? Because remember, leadership is others focused. Being a black belt leader is about encouraging, inspiring, and empowering other people to lead themselves well, make good choices, and to learn how to lead others the same way. But here's the problem. When you and I become so engrossed in ourselves that we forget there are people around us crying out to be seen and heard and valued, what happens? We miss the opportunity to be in a relationship with people who want and need us. You know, I recently had an opportunity to be with author John Gordon, the guy that wrote the book, The Energy Bus and Positive Leadership. And he's got a great quote, and I love it. He said, leadership is not just about what you can do, but what you can do to inspire, encourage, and empower others to do. Let me read that quote again. Leadership is not just about what you can do, but what you can inspire, encourage, and empower others to do. Now, think about that statement that John Gordon stated. That statement, inspiring, encouraging, and empowering other people, that only happens when we go beyond answering the who am I question for ourselves and helping other people answer the same question. You know, sometimes you and I have to lend people a vision of who they can become. We have to first give them the vision of who they are because many times they can't even see the potential within themselves. As leaders, we see more and we see before. And as a result of that, we can often see things in the individuals who are following us that we are leading and pouring into they can't yet see in themselves. And sometimes you and I have to lend those people a vision of the future, a vision of their potential based upon what we see in them and what we believe they are capable of saying, doing, becoming, or achieving before they actually see it and believe it for themselves. And this requires that you and I help them answer the who am I question. So let me ask you this question. How many nameless, faceless mannequins do you walk past every single day and you're not even aware that those people are in your presence? And if you could pause for a moment and listen to what they are longing to say to someone who would simply pause and acknowledge their presence, here's what I think they would say. I am a human just like you. I have talents and abilities just like you. I have hopes and dreams for the future just like you. I have value and worth just like you. I have thoughts and ideas just like you. I have something to say if you are willing to listen. I have something to contribute if you will give me the opportunity. Do I matter to you? And will you take the time to get to know me? Because when you get to know me, you're going to see the value and the potential in me. And you're also going to see how I can contribute and help you succeed. Now, think about that. We have the opportunity to go and to help the nameless, faceless mannequins that are wanting someone to just take a moment to acknowledge that they exist, to help them see the value and worth in themselves, to help them discover the potential within themselves, to help them realize and see maybe for the very first time the black belt leader within them waiting to be discovered, developed, deployed, and help them realize what they're capable of saying, doing, becoming, or achieving. You know, Socrates famously said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. Now, that's a great statement. To know yourself is the beginning of wisdom. But if that's all you do, it's not enough. Yes, you and I need to answer the who am I question, but we also need to hear the cry of the nameless, faceless mannequins that are going through life, being overlooked, being ignored, being forgotten, who are also asking, who am I? Do you know me? Do you hear me? Do you see me? Do you value me? Do you even know that I exist? Do I matter to you? Do I really matter to you? Now, as black belt leaders who know who you are, you and we need to help other people answer those questions too. We need to help them see their priceless value. We need to help them see their tremendous worth, and we need to help them realize their unlimited potential and begin to discover it, develop it, and deploy it. We need to tell them you are priceless. You are valuable. You have great worth. You have something to say, and I want to hear it. You have something to contribute, and I want to give you the opportunity to do so. You have incredible value, and you have unlimited potential. We need to be able to tell them that's who you are. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.